and welcome to the March 10th, 2025 Planning Board meeting. Can you please first stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You need a motion to close the meeting?
I was just gonna make a motion.
All right, first we have correspondence. We have one piece. Anybody want to discuss it?
No.
John?
I'm sorry?
Correspondence?
Oh, I have nothing.
Counselor?
Nothing, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We'll move to the meeting minutes of February 24th, 2025. Any additions, corrections?
Nothing here.
Nothing here.
None.
Do we have motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? We'll move
Aye.
to the regular portion of the meeting. First, in front of us, we have 5 below. This is a discussion of a special use permit, locations 335 Downing Drive. Come on up. How are you? Good. We just need your name and, for the record,
My name's Harold Smith.
and you work for
I'm
5 Below.
the store manager at the Five Below on 335 Downing Drive.
And you're looking to add to, well, congratulations on the opening.
Thank you.
You're looking to add storage in front of this store?
It would be up to 8 rectangular cages that are on wheels. So as weather permitting, we would put them out front of the store in an attempt to increase sales, drive different sales into the building. When this building is closed, they would be inside. Again, if the weather isn't well, we do have a storage area inside to house everything. But on nice days, we'd like to get things out there.
And
What would they contain?
A variety of different things: basketballs, footballs, patio cushions, camping chairs, different things like that.
the sidewalk is not blocked at any time?
The sidewalk would not be blocked.
ADA
The
compliant.
window would not be blocked. It would not extend past the Five Below property line, so it would not interfere at all with TJ Maxx or Michael's when they open.
How wide's the sidewalk?
17
and a half feet.
How much?
17 and a half.
Thank you.
And I believe the rectangular cages are about 2 feet wide.
And they'd be pulled in at the end of the night?
At the
or
end of the night,
morning?
they'd be brought inside, and in the morning, if the weather's okay, they would be put outside, and they'd be flush against the building.
John, any concerns?
No concerns here.
This is, I guess, similar to others we've done before?
Correct.
Anything from the board?
None.
Nothing.
Okay, what's our next action step? Here we just issue the,
We'll issue the permit.
okay. All right,
We need a resolution or
We'll get
anything?
the resolution for you to
Okay.
put together.
so we'll put together a resolution, but there's no objection.
Okay,
All right?
thank you, sir.
Good luck.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have the Par 3 Golf Course. This is a discussion of site plan amendments, locations 595 Route 6. How are you?
Matthew Behrens, I am the architect for the application. And
Carmine DeMeglio, owner.
At our last meeting, we had a couple of requests from the board. One of them was to identify the on-street parking, which is on that service road that's adjacent to Route 6. We were able to count off about 57 spots. All of them are approximately 9 feet by 18 feet long. There is also indications of the width of the road. At the widest point, which is near the cul-de-sac that's on the west side, they are, or that turnaround area. The road's about 30 to 32 feet wide. And then the narrowest point, it's about 28 feet, which is just past that, just past the entrance into the golf course parking lot. We also show a break in the run of spaces, which are all against the guardrail that's there now. There actually are some markings from some previous striping that had been there. but we left those free, where the inlet is from Route 6, just, so that there are people that need to make turning radiuses and things like that. But you can see they're all identified as about 57, spaces available.
You don't show the access to that spot, or to that parking area.
The access comes off of Route 6,
Yeah, you
yes.
don't show that, do you?
No, I don't.
How come?
Well, we need to get the survey, and I think that's
'Cause I'd like to
part of
see
the
that
problem.
in order to figure out what's going on at that one spot where all the traffic is coming and going. Especially if you got cars going all the way down to each end. I like to see how that works.
Okay,
in some detail.
But as I said, we can add that. But right now, Ian, if you don't mind, if just to blow up that area in between, I think there's a gap in the spaces. Yeah, right there, between 22 and 23, that's about where the inlet is.
It's the opening.
Are those gonna be marked out, those spaces, in any way?
I will have my men do it.
Can they do it? I mean,
And
are
I know it's
is
a
it
state-
permissible?
It's a
I don't
town
know.
road, right.
I know, I think it's state, right, road? I have no problem
is
doing
old.
it, because they are there.
It's old Route 6, right?
This may be owned by the state, yeah.
So New York State DOT would govern anything done on the road.
You'd get a permit from them, yeah.
They need one?
To do the striping, I would think so.
Parking and all that?
I think so. Well, it functions as a de facto parking area for commuters.
Right.
For the parking ride, right?
Right, so I don't know why they wouldn't be okay with that, but I think your point is well taken, Aaron, that you should see where the road comes in and some exact dimensions of the pavement, and probably put on the turning radius for a fire truck to get in and negotiate that turn. You may have to lose one or more of those spaces and then shove them down. And then, of course, if that's the case, striping is the way to go, so you can actually put up some sign that says no parking here, so you keep that free and that the emergency vehicles can get in there without having too much trouble.
Yeah, because most of it's fake, but it's all there.
Yeah.
So it'd be pretty easy to just repaint them.
I believe we had spoke the last time you were here about putting up some signage to delineate areas that were going to be used and not be used. And wouldn't the same thing hold true? Putting signage on a state road, you'd have to go through that.
I believe so.
Not a problem.
On the DOH, how long on the sanitary line to the sewer?
Who was that?
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Joe.
Regarding the sewer, because of the location of the connection point, which is on the other side of the Shrub Oak Brook, we need to bore underneath the brook to get across to the sewer, which involves the DEC and getting a permit from the DEC. And that's pretty much an open time frame on how long that will take, because they're very slow in issuing permits these days.
All right, so on the availability of porta sands, is that what your stopgap is gonna be until this happens?
That's correct. Right.
Dan, are we all right with that?
May I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or, which we've been doing, and like when we have events, we pump actually twice a week. We don't even wait. We've been pumping that for over a year now. Costs us $2,200 a week to pump those tanks.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
Yeah,
I've
no, I'm
seen how
just
busy
saying.
you are.
You know, so we do that almost automatically. We don't wait, you know, at this point. We just, we don't want to.
And I think we all appreciate that. When we did the site walk, when Dan was there,
Right, yeah, yeah.
there was some things that, raised concerns.
Yep, absolutely.
Sorry, Dan.
I mean, we gonna look at the sewer and getting that approved, but the underlying issue with the health department, I mean, that's really up to them whether you know, the number of seats they have.
Right.
And their sanitary system, whether it's acceptable to have the porta sands. So I don't want to render an opinion on something that's outside of my jurisdiction. Well, when it does become my jurisdiction is when we see if we detect sewage someplace where it shouldn't be.
I think that's, you know, what we're talking about.
Right.
But with the county, with the number of seats, if the system can't handle it, they're not gonna approve it.
Yeah, and that's my understanding. I mean, any restaurant operation, the design flows are a function of the number of seats in the restaurant.
So,
So
Again-
right now, I mean, yes, the number of seats you have are not going to be, the number of seats they're proposing right now doesn't dovetail with the existing septic system and its capacity.
so how do we deal with that?
I mean, I would think one way to deal with it is to have the health department weigh in on it. Whether this is, you know, I think it goes a long way to actually have plans in the works to do it, to do the connection. Because now we're talking about a transition, like as it stands right now, I don't have any plans that I've approved for the connection. And it also has to go to Westchester County Environmental Facilities because they have to approve the connection to their manhole.
Right, but at the end of the day, when we look at these plans, we're looking at a number of seats. And right now, that system is not designed nor can handle it. So how do we move forward when we know, unless the county has, again, with special events, I mean, do they allow porta potties as a substitute? I have no idea.
They've been there.
The county?
Yes. They've been there a few times.
All right, but we understand
Okay.
they limited the number of seats.
Absolutely.
So, again, and we
But they
all wanna
s-
see you succeed
No,
and
no,
do
I-
very
I-
well.
I understand.
But we also gotta make sure
Right.
everything's compliant,
They've seen the porta potties.
right? And again, I think that's something we need to get answered on the town's end. Because again, this is a town property that you're the tenant, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, again, we gotta make sure that everything we're doing here is approved. So I really do think we need an answer on that. And I think the best bet is to meet with the county and see how you, even if it's a temporary type situation, where they ultimately sign off on it. I gotta think it's something like if you had it, and we talked about this last time, and I saw your letter of your intent of what to do out there. But if you do have like a concert, right? And you put the lights out in the back, the temporary lights, you're gonna draw a large amount of people. That might exceed parking, it might exceed certainly the intent of the inside bathrooms, right? So I think we wanna make sure that we really start to get a handle on that, right?
Yep.
And I saw, and I thank you very much for providing that documentation. But I think we also gotta talk about the lighting that's put out in the back at times, right? So people are night golfing, you have certain events. I think we're gonna need to see all that, and David, I would yield to you to make sure that this plan that we're looking at is, you know, consistent with the intent of the original plan that the town signed with you. So, I think there's a few things we really gotta get a handle on.
Okay.
First is county health department, hooking up to that sewer, and, you know, the DEC just added, they double their workload with the wetland permits now that they're taking on. So, there's a lot of work out there, and there's not enough people to look at everything. I think they hired 3 other people, I heard. So, we wanna get a handle on the sewer, cause that is gonna certainly dictate what you could do there, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. For what I'm told, and I've looked into it with the health department, they have nothing to do with us connecting to the sewer. It's after we're finished, we submit them with we did everything, can we get more seating?
I understand that.
Right, no, I'm just saying, okay.
We need
For the porta potties.
the town
Yes,
and you.
Okay, right.
We need permits from the DEC to cross.
Right, no, that I know. That I know.
That's, I think, the long lead item here.
Right,
I mean, I think dealing with New York State, as long as you don't ask them to pay for anything,
right,
they're quick to review things.
yes,
And again, we need to get a handle on that too.
right.
So there's 3 real critical things here: parking and New York State DOT.
Right.
right? And that that's compliant, and they can't one day come in and say, you know, gigs up, we're taking the road out, and they're stuck with nothing.
Right.
Being able to paint out and sign up their road, if it is in fact their road. The DEC and the health department with how do we get by, even on a temporary basis, with the amount of occupants you wanna have there, and we're headed into your busy season, right? For people today, we're ready to go out there and start getting going.
Over there.
Right? So you wanna make sure that you have the legal capacity so that we don't get jammed up, because ultimately it's a town property, and if they come down on anybody, it's gonna be the town.
I got you.
And then I, again, wanna make sure that everything in that description, and I would include more, I think we need in there the temporary lighting out on the
Yes.
campus.
I got
You know,
some.
and again, you said local bands, you know, we had heard that there were postings and advertisements for people outside to come in, bigger venues, which I don't think anybody necessarily has a problem with, but we gotta make sure that we're covered, one, with the contract, and two, with the parking and the sanitary end of it. So, does anybody have any issues with the layout of the plan that they've presented?
Well, I think one thing comes to my mind, do we need a town wetlands permit if they're gonna be putting pipes and sewer lines
they're gonna-
across?
yeah, they-
So that has to be done. Your hours of operation, I think, need to be more specific. You write that you're open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evenings. I don't know what the cutoff time is for that. I'm concerned about the impact of the lighting that's on that property at night. I don't know if we approved lighting out there in the field,
That's why
you know, so,
yeah, I think David and Adam are gonna really have to
well,
dig into what, you know, the plan is and what was originally approved.
you know, the memo that went out earlier, in early February, you know, asked for this information, and we still need it.
Yeah. So I think we got a bunch of things we need to focus on, but again, with the layout of the course and the outside bar and the fire pits and the outside, does anybody have any issues with that?
No, but
Yes.
I am gonna bring up the possibility of, are you going to, since we're upping the capacity for the sanitary sewers, are you gonna add more bathrooms?
I would like to. That'll be the next step, you know, but one thing at a time. But I think I own a restaurant, Yonkers. I think we have 2 bathrooms. We were up to 100, like basically what, you know, he said, 100 and something. But I would like to put another building there eventually, once we get to the sewer, 2 more bathrooms.
Oh,
And that,
I have not yet seen where your fields are. Where the septic fields are right
Yeah,
now.
we questioned that if it went under that patio going
So
between.
I would, you need to put that out on one of your drawings.
right.
Where's the tank, do you know?
We have 2 tanks. One's, as you got that walkway, you know, where the first tee boxes
right
that we
there.
don't use. One's right there, then it comes out, and then we got one right, when you walk in the front door to the right, where it's like a little wall, we have a little upper tier there. There's
Yeah.
another tank right there. So we have 2 tanks.
I got a question. Since this is town-owned property, and you're making a capital improvement to the property, who pays for it, the tenant or the landlord?
We said we would pay for it.
But are you required by your lease to pay for it?
I mean, we can negotiate anything, really. We said we would do, but I came out and said, because this is a thing we really need to do.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about splitting the money at this
down the line, I
point, you know what I'm saying?
understand.
So we said, I told a couple of people, we don't want nothing, we'll pay for this job, because then that probably takes us even deeper, you know, negotiating what you're paying for, what I'm paying for. We're willing to eat this.
You had the license agreement.
What is the county limit you're seating to?
Right now,
Yeah.
54.
54. And what's the proposed seating?
I think it's 107 it was, with the
Inside?
parking.
The parking?
No, remember we were saying, bring it up with the parking outside and the sewer, we would go up to like 100, something like that, if I remember right?
You would probably need more, I think. If you're counting everything you have inside and your outdoor seating with the bar and so forth, you're about 150, I think.
But I can cut that down, I'm not worried about cutting
Right,
that
so
down.
we're, you know, really increasing what would be the capacity for the
Right.
sewer, so I think that's the first thing we gotta address. And I don't know how long, I mean, did the DEC give any kinda, I see Joe's getting up, but,
Oh, sorry, Joe.
We haven't put it in the application yet. The plan is done, the application's 90% together. Once we finish the application, it comes over for the, because the town is making the application, right? Comes over to Dan, Dan's gotta review it, make sure it's okay for Ed to sign it, then it goes to the DEC. Our plan was to get that tied up this week and get it over to Dan. And as far as capacity goes, once we design the sewer system, it's real, I don't wanna say the capacity is limitless, but we could,
Yeah.
get as much as we need, because, we're not restricted by any kind of, flow or capacity, for example, with a septic
Right.
system, right? So,
but the problem is you're right at the beginning of the season, and you're talking what possibly could be getting the permit, getting everything out to bid, doing the work. We could be 8, 9 months. That goes past the season. That's why I think someone needs to have a fast conversation with Westchester County to see if there's anything temporarily to be done. Because if you're limited to the amount of seats that they gave you now,
No, I
It's-
agree, and me and, Joe spoke about it, to write that letter to Westchester County and explain to them, I will pump it twice a week. Even if you give us 80 seats, will help us.
Right.
Just on the pumping alone.
right, we were kind of just holding off to write that letter until we had the DEC application in, because then we could say, we have an application and here's the and it's not some, pie in the sky thing, it's actually an application that's into them. And then we could say, we've got an application in, he's pumping, he'll pump 2 times a week, 3 times a week, whatever needs to be done. But we have something moving in that direction.
so for instance, we're getting into the summer months. You have an event. You have some group show up. Aaron Bach and the Ramblers. Big group. Everybody comes to see Aaron and his band.
All 2 people.
And the place is loaded. You're gonna blow up that septic, even if you are pumping it, right? So would the county approve, like you had those nice stalls there last time, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah, it was a nice setup. Is that something that could, and again, I don't know the answer on temporary stuff.
And it's not, it's more or less the flavor of the day with them on something like that, because I've had them do that many times where they'll accept portable facilities
Yeah.
as a temporary basis, like we've done camps and whatnot, where we couldn't accommodate the sewage immediately, and they'd let us do that for like the summer, let's say, season. So I've seen them do it, and, other times I've seen them balk at it, so.
But my concern is the town applies to the DEC for this permit.
Right.
They come out to take a look at the area and inspect it. And we've had an event. And they observe certain things.
Yeah,
You,
that's gonna be up to Carmine and his group to make sure that they are diligent about pumping. And if they're permitted to have the portable facilities, that'll cover them for that.
because if we have an event and they come out there, we're gonna have a whole other,
That's right,
right?
that's right.
So we gotta make sure that, again, we do this in a way that we won't have that kind of problem.
Joe, is there a process where you have to apply for a permit to have portable porta-sands like that for an event?
I'm not gonna say there's an actual permit application for that.
Right.
It's more, that you would write a letter pleading your case and explaining the circumstances. So there's not really an official permit, I don't think that they issue. It would be more a letter of, okay, here's a temporary permit for you to operate with the Port Sands, and we'll allow you to have this many seats.
I think the good news here is that we didn't know 6 months ago what was gonna happen, whether there was even an ability to connect to the sewer.
Oh, that's great.
So I think what we're dealing with right now is a transition period.
Yep.
And it's something that truly will be temporary. And I think the applicant's saying too, it could expand the capacity once connected to the sewer.
Oh, I
So
think
I
you
think-
get that sewer hooked up, you're golden.
Right.
Yeah, I think once the sewer is hooked up, it's really not about sewage flow, it's about parking and,
Lighting.
you know, how many tables and chairs you could fit. You
Right,
know,
I still
that's
think
really what it comes
you
down
could
to.
do a shuttle with the mall, is, you know, if you, but I think we also need to kind of get an idea of exactly how that would work when you have an event like that.
And when they came out, and they
Yeah.
seen the porta potties, and we told them, we use them, number one, for the golf. The restaurant don't open
Right.
till 11 o'clock, so you needed something out there.
Right.
And then we told them, I was very honest, and events, and that's what they put down on the inspection, porta potties at the events and for golf.
So,
But I understand, we'll get a letter to them.
right,
Absolutely.
let's work on that. Let's try to work with the state. In the meantime, maybe a meeting could be set up in John's office to sit down with council and the group and see how we work through these things. All right, and I do think there's other things we need to see in that description,
Yeah, the lights, yes.
right?
I
But I think it would be best if a meeting was set up to really deal with the nuts and bolts of this. All right?
Fine, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Guiding Eyes for the Blind. This is a modified disturbance area. Location is 3241 Compound Road.
Your phone.
Okay, I'm back. So I'm here regarding Guiding Eyes and the request to cut some additional trees down over what was approved as part of our site plan approval. With me from Guiding Eyes are Bill Ma and Rob Maiani and Rebecca Carantenuto. The owner's rep is here also. So altogether, we're looking to take down an additional 21 trees. And 8 trees are going to be attributed to the stormwater detention system, which are down here. So the additional trees that are coming out are red dots, and there's descriptions of the trees that are coming out. The reason for those additional trees are when the design of the stormwater system was sent to the manufacturer for the preparation of their shop drawings, they realized some of our components to the detention system had either too much cover over them or not enough cover because they have minimum, maximum requirements. So that extended out, well, that created a reconfiguration. They changed the configuration slightly, and which created some more grading and pushed that grading down the hill. So with that, we need to take out 8 more trees. And as you can see, they're all on the west side of the detention system or downhill side of the detention system. We're still under review by the DEC, believe it or not. Even though they've had this project for 2 years, in the last 2 months, they brought someone else in to look at it, and they've come up with some additional changes and comments. So as a result of that, they've asked us to push the capping in a southerly and easterly direction They wanted us to get a little further away from the wetland limit, which we did. And there's a diversion swale that's designed around the cap that we had designed for a 10-year storm, which was customary. They wanted us to design it for a 25-year storm, which made it a little bigger and spread it out a little bit. So as a result of that, we need to take another 9 trees down there. And lastly, we are changing the location of our gas and sewer service from where it was originally supposed to connect, and we're going a little further west on the site with it. So that requires us taking out another 4 trees, but I think that's conservative. We're just trying to be a little conservative with that. I think it's more likely going to be only 2 more trees. Of those trees that are coming out, 3 of them are in decline, and there's no harm in them coming out. And to offset that, to mitigate that, we're proposing a mix of 10 additional trees and shrubs. And we've highlighted an area in green where we thought the sewer was going to go, so we're going to replant that area at a minimum, and then we're open to, but we're willing to offer some additional trees on a town designated location.
I'm aware that the Tree Commission and their association with the Tree Bank in Yorktown are in need of some evergreen trees for that operation. So maybe that is something that could be talked about in terms of whatever the
Absolutely.
total mitigation is, some sort of mix of planting where necessary on your site and some trees to go to the tree bank.
Yep, be more than happy to do that.
All right, so what you're bringing in front of us is mandated work. Let me ask you again, how long with the DEC?
They started looking at it about 2 years ago, and only about 2 months ago they brought someone else in that has never associated with the project, and I guess he had to beat his chest and come up with some changes and whatnot, and that's really created a real headache for us and really pushed back our timeline because it's holding up the contractor.
The reason I bring that up again is the prior application
Yeah.
is going to be with the DEC. Does anybody have any concerns with the?
No.
All right, so John, they can work with your office
And the tree,
and the tree.
whatever the tree commission works
Yeah.
out with them is fine.
Yeah, we could make that happen,
Okay,
no issue.
what do we have to amend here?
Their tree permit,
Okay,
which will I guess, amend it and have you re-sign it.
Okay.
If you want to, if everything is fine according to what you've heard here tonight.
any issues?
No issue.
I think, for me, I think if the tree commission and you work out the mitigation for this, that's
Yeah,
fine with me.
that's fine.
Okay, so would it be okay to release the contractor to move ahead with those removals? Yeah,
As long as I have no issue.
Yeah, but in short order, we'll get this tree permit finished, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, he can go and we'll try to work it out in the next day or two.
yeah, that works with us,
All right,
okay?
Good.
Thank you.
thanks, John.
Thank you, Woody.
This,
Okay, next, we have a town board referral. The address is 354 Alden Road. This is an application for an MS4 stormwater management permit and wetland permit to expand existing residence and driveway. How you doing?
He was there a second.
I don't think the,
We got 4.
I'm not sure what,
6.
what is the,
Good evening.
you doing?
My name is Ferdinand Gun. Danny.
Putting you to work tonight? So what are you looking to do here?
Well, we're trying to put an addition on an existing house, and all the permits are ready, and engineering permits send us here to. I'm not sure.
Okay. You got any background, John?
I don't have much background, but I have a couple of questions.
Okay. Fire away.
So this had, but does not any longer have an existing house on it, is that correct?
Well, we got a building permit and a demolition permit, so we remove a little bit of the house.
Okay.
But
So
then they gave us an stop work because we needed a engineering permit. And then we did all the process, we got the sewer permit, the building permit, and
Okay.
we're waiting for the stormwater permit.
Okay, so you have a structure that is partially demolished,
Yes,
and you are adding on to it,
that's correct.
is that the way it's happening?
Blew up Tom's.
Okay, that's my basic question, to understand what happened, and it appeared to me that there was probably some type of stoppage here, which he just confirmed, so now I have an understanding of just what has been going on, so.
Dan, can you help us with this one?
Yeah, so this one's a site redevelopment. This parcel had previously been, well, still has a single-family house on it and a freestanding garage. So the applicant's looking to modify that structure. And because it's in proximity to state wetlands, our code requires this application be handled by the town board. So you're seeing this as a referral from the town board.
Do you have any issues with what they're proposing?
Yeah.
Have any issues for us? I don't.
Any planning issues?
Is there gonna be some mitigation that's required?
There's, for the most part,
It's a wetland issue, right, more or less?
yeah,
Okay.
right. But they are putting in new stormwater systems, so there is some stormwater mitigation as part of the application.
So the house has been torn up. They're rebuilding the house, putting a new house up, extending the driveway, and looks like you're hooking into, you got a grinder pump, so you're putting in the sewer, and you're removing a septic area? What, was it on septic, I'm imagining?
Before it was in a septic.
All right, so I think part of the mitigation possibly could be you're removing septic that would end up in a state wetland. Now it's being ground up and pumped into a system. You're improving your stormwater capacity out there. That would help, hopefully, the wetland. So it sounds like we're having we have a 1970 Chevelle, and we're turning it into a 2025 car. So we're upgrading the system.
I thought you were going to specify the model.
Huh?
Did this go to Conservation Board already?
It should have been referred to them.
I think it did, okay.
Yeah, all right, so we'll,
So just one more question. So the amount of disturbance to any wetland system is that one new leg of the house that's eastward? Is that right? That's in the part of the buffer?
I think it's just the buffer.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's just buffer disturbance and it's that one small corner?
Yeah,
that
and then
what- that's what we're talking
the
about.
sanitary line was put in as part of another subdivision. It was left there, so for the most part, the line that has to go north into the Farm Walk pump station is already in place. So they're just picking that up and connecting it to the new grinder pump.
So it's really a minimal amount of buffer disturbance for the most part that we're looking at?
That's right.
Is it quantified anywhere, just out of curiosity? I mean, square footage wise or anything?
It can, I mean, it may have been in the engineer's report,
Okay.
but we can certainly, come up with those metrics in advance of the town board meeting.
all right, so I think you gotta get all your engineering ducks in a row, get in front of the Conservation Board, New York State, but I don't see there's any planning
I
issue.
think conservation saw it.
Conservation board said that they don't have anything.
No issues? Okay.
Yeah, I don't have
I
any.
just got an email and they also saying that there's nothing else.
So you're gonna suggest some additional data for town board's use and?
Yes.
And conservation board's use and
Right.
let them decide what they need to do, right?
Standard engineering.
Yep.
Got it.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ask for double time, it's later.
5 more things on the agenda, right?
We've got another 6 items. So I have a motion to close the meeting.
Motion to close. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did you see this?
Dan?
Oh, we beat ourselves 5 minutes.